Good morning, everyone, and welcome to 12 today. The hunt is on for people who set a Walmart on fire. Nico Santos has more on the search.
Plus, we're checking weather and traffic for you on this Thursday morning. But first, we go to a developing story of a wildfire that is burning near Show Low. It has a lot of people on edge right now. The fire is growing quickly. It's more than 3,000 acres as we speak and threatening the town of Show Low. 12 News' Monique Griego joins us now with the very latest. Monique.
Many folks here in Show Low and the surrounding areas have been through this before, and this morning the mayor is hoping they're ready for whatever happens. After igniting around noon, the Cedar Creek fire quickly getting out of control.
Notices, and so it's scary. It's scary, you know. I don't want to have to see it again.
Within just a couple of hours, flames went from torching only a couple hundred acres to more than 2,500 acres, and later in the night, the fire had spread to 3,000.
It's dry, as we all know. And it's crowned, so it's up on the top, and it is moving fast, and it's burning quickly, and it's very intense.
Forestdale, a sparsely populated town, was the first to be evacuated, but only 2 families were displaced. Show Low, Pinetop, Lakeside, McNary, and Apache were put on pre-evacuation notice.
We're not asking anybody to evacuate. We're just asking you to prepare and to be ready. It's one of those things that we've known for 12, 14 years that we hope that we don't have this day again, but we are being threatened right now by a serious forest fire.
Most folks in the area have been through a wildfire and evacuations before.
You don't know what to expect when you get home, so it's pretty nerve-wracking. It's very stressful.
Several fire crews are fighting the flames from the ground and in the air. They say strong winds are fighting against them. This morning, local leaders hoping residents spent the overnight getting prepared for whatever the Cedar Fire brings today.
Think about the neighbors. Think about those people who are maybe not as prepared as you are, what you can do to extend a hand of help to them.
The cause of the fire remains under investigation. For more information, just go to 12news.com. Reporting from Show Low, Monique Griego, 12 News Today.
Monique, thank you. And of course, anytime there's a wildfire, winds always play a huge factor in this. Overnight, it tends to relatively lay low, but what can people expect later on in the day, Jimmy?
Yeah, it looks like these winds are going to pick up a little bit more. Nothing too strong. It could be worst case scenarios, but right now, still, it's not going to be a great case as far as that. Temperature outside right now, 52 degrees. Our relative humidity is 12%. It's bone dry across the state. Wind speed southwest at 10 miles an hour. And here's what we have right now. Current wind gusts, really pretty quiet, but our future wind cast, here's what we're going to notice later on. We're going to see right along the rim country here, things should be relatively quiet by this morning, but then this afternoon picking up to about 18, 20 mile an hour sustained winds, and this is just a pretty good forecast here. Unfortunately, sustained winds could be a little bit stronger and the winds could be gustier. Outside right now here in Phoenix, we have 77 degrees, winds out of the east at 10 miles an hour, and of course your monsoon meter, we are now in monsoon, second day, quiet conditions, pretty dry across all of the state. Usually we don't start to see things pick up until late June on in towards July. 99 to 104 for today. Sunny and mild, and the winds will be on the light side, Jen. So getting pretty busy in our forecast. A lot to talk about, including the heat for this weekend.
Yeah, it is. Really hope that wind cooperates for firefighters today. Want to take you now out to the 60 in Gilbert. This is actually on Gilbert Road, so off of the freeway. We do have some police activity. You can see vehicles are making it by, but as we get into the height of rush hour, it might start to slow things down just a little bit. So a few lane restrictions there. To get around that, if you don't even want to mess with Gilbert Road southbound, you can use Lindsay, Val Vista, or Stapley in the area. The rest of the valley looks really nice so far on your Thursday morning. We have a lot of green. That means you can hit top speeds as you're heading out the door. And speaking of those speeds, I-10 eastbound from the 303 to 7th Street, only about a 20-minute commute for you. 60 westbound from the 202 to the 10, about a 16-minute commute. So coming up next in my traffic report, we'll get a look at your future cast. Plus, we're going to talk about those road closures because of the Cedar Creek fire.
Jen, thank you. New this morning, a car slams into a house near 87th Avenue in Campbell. Police tell us the driver was speeding and took a turn just too fast. 4 women were in the car. None of them hurt. The driver was not impaired. No one inside the home was hurt. Well, loved ones of the Skyline High School grad killed in the Orlando nightclub shooting gathered to remember him at a special candlelight vigil in Mesa last night. 20-year-old Jason Josephat was part of the graduating class of 2014 at Skyline High. A couple hundred people shared stories and lit candles in honor of Josephat at Skyline Park near Broadway and Crisman Roads.
It means a lot. It means how much Jason was loved by his friends. It's overwhelming.
Because a lot of people out here can't make it to the funeral in Orlando. I was blessed, thank God, with tickets to his funeral, but a lot of people that know him aren't able, so I kind of just wanted to do something where everyone could feel like they were a part of kind of something like that.
Especially during these traumatic times, with so much going on in the world, we forget how much we're loved sometimes and how much our connection as people brings us together.
Family members are heading to Florida on Saturday for the memorial, which is planned for next week.
And today, local advocacy groups will hold a news conference in light of the Orlando shooting. LGBTQ leaders from here in the Valley will speak about how to combat homophobia and transphobia in the community to prevent future incidents like the one in Orlando. That's going on this morning at 11 at the Transqueer Pueblo off 18th Street in Roosevelt. Well, new this morning at 5:05, police were on the hunt for two people suspected of setting a fire at a Phoenix Walmart. Nico Santos is live at that store near 51st Avenue and Indian School Road with the very latest. Nico?
You can only imagine that it was pretty scary moments inside this Walmart here behind us, because what they set on fire was fireworks. So in an enclosed area, just imagine what that sounded like. Right now we have a fire restoration crew on scene. The Walmart closed, location behind us, closed for now after multiple 911 calls came in last night with smoke and fire popping off. Amazing security footage shows some interesting things here, so let's take a look. You see people scrambling in the corner of your screen as they try to get away what likely sounded like an explosion, and a few seconds later you see possibly a Walmart employee pulling products from the shelves, likely fireworks from that same display. This is the Walmart location on Indian School Road and 51st Avenue, and according to Phoenix Fire, the sprinkler system helped to put some of the flames out as they were on their way. Security cameras got a pretty clear shot of two of the three people involved here. There was a third person, a woman involved, who didn't show up as clearly on camera, but take a closer look. Just take a few seconds. If you recognize these people, you are asked to call Phoenix Police or Silent Witness. We understand there were a number of people who had smoke-related complaints here, but as fire crews responded, they denied any treatment, so everyone more or less is okay after that. In the meantime, they're looking for these three people facing possible arson charges. In Phoenix, Nico Santos, 12 Today.
All right, Nico, thank you. Glad one was severely hurt there. Well, the monsoon has officially begun here in Arizona, and while there's no rain in the immediate forecast, we do know it's just a matter of time before the thunderstorms begin.
And with them comes the chance of flash flooding. Jimmy Q has a look at the dangers of trying to cross a wash.
So many times we hear about people getting stuck in their cars because they try and cross a wash that is flooding. The scary thing is that it can happen very fast, and it doesn't take much water. As the afternoons start to heat up and the monsoons start to build, we can have some storms popping up out of nowhere that can drop tremendous amounts of rain in a short period of time. These washes all over Phoenix, absolutely gorgeous. As a kid, I used to play in washes just like this. But during a big monsoon storm, they can fill up in minutes, turning into big rivers, sweeping everything down in a matter of seconds. As this water continues to rush down into the city, it's only a matter of time before these rivers of mud have to meet up with roadways. This road sits pretty high over this wash, but during monsoon, floodwaters can overcome this bridge in a matter of minutes. You try to cross, and you're stuck.
The big thing with water is sometimes you don't know how deep it is. You just can't tell, and the biggest concern is with flowing water, fast flowing water, because it's easy to be deceived. It doesn't take very much water, maybe only a foot and a half deep. If it's fast moving, that can actually pick up a car and take it off of the road.
Ken says flash flooding is quite possibly the #1 impact we see from the monsoon every year. It's something we should take very seriously, and unfortunately, every year we have water rescues from people driving into low crossings and getting stuck. And let's not forget the stupid motorist law. You go driving over a wash that's running and your car gets caught, they have to come rescue you. You're gonna have to pay for the bill. Next time you're driving in monsoon and you run into a wash that's flooded, remember what the National Weather Service says. It's better to turn around and not drown. That's right, folks, and we are in monsoon now, second day, usually dry, but we report on this every year. People try to cross these washes locally and on the outskirts.
And they don't realize that just a couple of inches can sweep a car away, but they still take the chance.
And a lot of times, it's just enough to maybe stall your car. Maybe not ready to, and then the water continues to rise up, and then you're in a lot of trouble.
We see a lot of those, and we report on a lot of those rescues.
Yeah.
No one thinks they're going to be that person.
Absolutely. Well, Facebook could be very different in the next 5 years. What one of the executives said that has a lot of people talking.
And one grandma is being called the most polite person online. You don't want to miss her adorable Google search that's coming up.
Welcome back, everyone, to 12 Today. A live look here from our 12 News tracker. It is traveling on I-10 eastbound just past Elliott. Well, it is 5:13 right now.
Now imagine a Facebook that is all video and no text. That's what one Facebook executive is calling the future of social media. Facebook's vice president of European, Middle Eastern, and African operations predicted the other day that Facebook will be all video in the next 5 years. He adds that video is the best way to tell stories in this world, and it helps us digest much more information.
Yes, videos definitely, I agree, are the best ways to tell a story, but I still like to read the text. It's just faster.
I'm not a big watcher of video online. I like to read it.
Sometimes it takes forever to, you
have to wait 30 seconds for the ad, and you do that.
Exactly.
The future.
The future of Facebook. An adorable British grandma getting a lot of attention after a very polite Google search. Get this, Grandma May wanted to translate a series of Roman numerals. She begins her search with please and ends it with thank you. Her grandson Ben snapped a photo of the search and tweeted it out. Now she is being called the most polite person online. Google's Twitter account even sent out a response saying, "Dear Grandma, no thanks necessary."
That is in a complete opposition to what Tram does and just starts pounding on the thing, going, why don't you work?
No, I just asked Matt.
Well,
Matt, I can't find this. Where is it? Help me out here.
All right. It's no big secret the Apple Watch flopped when it came out recently, but the tech giant is still hoping to make a go of it. At Apple's conference this week, developers revealed some pretty big facelifts coming to the wearable device. First off, they're going to make it work more like an iPhone. For example, just like on your phone, you'll now be able to swipe up for the control panel. They're also planning to expand its fitness features with a more detailed tracking system, maybe something like one of the Fitbits or one of those kind of trackers.
That is so in right now. I'll tell you, I looked into getting an iPhone or an iWatch.
Yeah.
And for the price tag, I wasn't going to utilize it to justify the price.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you use it a ton and, you're on it, but I don't know. I just
start at $300.
The one that I wanted, it was at least $700.
Oh, I thought you wanted the $10,000 one.
Oh, no.
It's a watch. I mean, if you're going to spend that much for, you might as well get like a more expensive watch, like a Rolex or something like that.
Oh, see, I told you he was fancy.
Fancy Jimmy Q.
Oh, Casio, right? No, Armatron. It's best.
There you go.
It's 5:15. Let's check your traffic. Now, here's Jen.
All right, I'll look at your local roadways now. Not too bad so far on your Thursday morning. Out to the 101 in Thomas, we do have some police activity off to the side of the freeway, but it's not affecting traffic this morning. Everywhere else, is still clear except for Gilbert and the 60. So it's actually on Gilbert Road southbound. We have some police activity just off the 60, that with some lane restrictions there. As far as your live drive goes this morning, we're going to start you off I-10 eastbound to 75th Avenue from the 101, only going to take you a couple of minutes. By the time we hit 51st Avenue, we're still nice and clear. Speeds around 65 miles per hour, only taking you about 11 minutes to get from the 101 to 7th Street so far on your Thursday morning. A few more drive times. We're looking at 202 Red Mountain from Power Road to the Mini Stack, 70 miles per hour and a 19-minute drive there. And if you didn't hear earlier this morning, we are still looking at closures in the Loop 303 from Lake Pleasant Parkway to I-17 because of filming for Transformers 5. You can use Carefree Highway and Lake Pleasant Parkway to make it around that. And finally, up to the White Mountains, we have a closure on the US 60 between Show Low and the 73. You can use the 87 and 260 to make it around that as firefighters are battling that crew. We don't know how much longer that is expected to be closed, but Jimmy's going to give us a look now at wind speeds and fire conditions up north.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be looking up towards the north, and could be a tough day for those folks up there around the Cedar Fire area. Big pine trees, and the problem with the fuel, they have so much fuel up there that these fires can create their own wind conditions and their own weather as well, because you have a tremendous amount of lift. You're dealing with the topography, the canyons that can create and suck in all different types of air and wind gusts. So it's a tough one. Right now, temperatures about 52 degrees. That's at least comfortable up there for firefighters and workers in those areas trying to help out, or maybe people that need to evacuate and get out of those areas. At least it's not going to be as hot as it is here in the valley. Southwest winds right now at about 10 miles an hour. So current wind gusts for those areas, we've got about a 6-mile-an-hour wind gust. So wind's not a huge factor right there right now, but probably in the next couple of hours as you start moving into the late morning into the afternoon, winds will be sustained at 18 miles an hour. It's going to be by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So this will really start to pick up. And remember, if some of those winds move through those canyons, it can be even stronger than that as well with the pressure gradient. 77 degrees currently here at home. Dew point's about 33, so dry conditions across the whole state, bone dry, and it makes sense that the fire restrictions are all over the state. Basically no campfires, no burning restrictions for pretty much all areas here. 104 for the forecast high, average is 104, records 115, and of course for precipitation we're way down for this time of year, and the sun coming up right now. This is the time sunrise comes up, 5:18 right on the dot here, and it'll be popping up here. Temperatures below average for today, but remember this weekend is going to be extremely hot. Let's talk about the weather right now and our temperatures. We have an excessive heat warning now in effect for this weekend for Saturday and Sunday. Mild conditions today, a little warmer tomorrow, and then we get into the serious stuff here by Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. This could be a break in the heated debate over gun control. The Republican Party agreeing to a vote after a late-night filibuster. Tracy Botts has the latest live in D.C. next.
We have some breaking news we want to tell you about right now. You are looking at a live picture out of 55th Avenue and Indian School. 2 people have been shot in Maryvale. Now, as you recall, there have been a string of unsolved murders in Maryvale. The latest victim was Malia Ellis. She was just 12 years old. This is all we know right now for this moment, that 2 people have been shot. Our Brian West is headed to the scene right now with the latest on this shooting. Well, Washington's all-night talkathon is finally over.
Yeah, Democrats are trying to force votes on gun control after the Orlando shooting. Tracy Botts joins us live on Capitol Hill, where the filibuster ended just a few hours ago. Tracy?
And they're back at work in about an hour and a half. It looks like the Senate will now get an opportunity to consider at least 2 measures on gun control.
The Senate stands adjourned until 10 a.m. this morning.
Democrats declared victory early this morning after speaking for more than 14 hours straight.
Is this slaughter not a wake-up call? Is it not enough to convince us to act? Where is our spine?
That is how
one of the victims
in this country
in question in your colloquy with the seniors.
We don't want terrorists to be able to walk in to a gun store and buy a gun, and we don't want an innocent law-abiding citizen to be denied his Second Amendment rights because he's wrongly on the list with a bunch of terrorists.
We still have to get from here to there.
This filibuster led by Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, where emotions are still raw after the Sandy Hook school shooting.
Ask yourself, what can you do to make sure that Orlando or Sandy Hook never, ever happens again?
The majority leader.
Republican leaders agreed to 2 votes, universal background checks for gun shows and internet sales, and banning suspected terrorists on the no-fly list from buying guns.
The right thing is we don't sell to strangers. We don't sell to criminals. We don't sell to mentally unstable people.
There's no word this morning when those votes will happen. But we do know this morning that Donald Trump wants to talk to the NRA, the National Rifle Association. He says he wants to talk to them about this no-fly, no-buy law, possibly no-fly, no-buy law, and the NRA says they're open to that.
All right, Tracy, thank you.
It is now 5:24. President Obama will travel to Orlando, Florida today, 4 days after the worst mass shooting in modern U.S. history happened there. Vice President Joe Biden will join Mr. Obama as the two meet with victims and families of Sunday's shooting. The president will also speak with first responders and medical professionals there. He'll hold a news conference to talk about more of that later this afternoon. And a special service will be held later today in honor of the 2-year-old boy who was killed after being dragged underwater by an alligator Tuesday night. Lane Graves was with his father when the gator snatched him from a lagoon near a Disney World resort in Orlando, Florida. Authorities announced yesterday afternoon they had recovered the toddler's body. This morning, that boy's body is being looked over by medical examiners. Well, New Mexico is in a state of emergency this morning as crews try to get the upper hand on a large wildfire there.
The so-called Doghead Fire has grown significantly since Tuesday. Since it was first reported, that fire has burned some 2,000 acres. The fire is about 35 miles southeast of Albuquerque. Right now, there are no mandatory evacuations, but authorities are encouraging residents in that area to leave. A wildfire in Southern California is forcing people to abandon their homes. The fire is being called the Sherpa Fire. Fire officials say the fire has scorched nearly 200 acres over a few hours. There is concern that fire will grow quickly, being that it started in steep, dense terrain.
It's 5:25 now. Vigils all around the country are taking place to remember the victims of that mass shooting in Orlando. But one of them got a very magical tribute. We'll share it with you next.
Police are still looking for 2 people who started a fire in a Phoenix Walmart. We have the security camera footage straight ahead.